That's Edward Thomas. Now I know Edward Thomas is considered a war poet, and he's even on that thing they've got in Westminster Abbey. But he really didn't write.
That.
He didn't really write much poet. He didn't write any. I can't really find anything directly warrior-like in his work.
There are some of his poems in this, and I can't see any
No.
direct connection.
No,
Alice,
no, he didn't.
funnily
He
enough.
did write.
It's interesting you've come to the same conclusion.
He did write some of them. Obviously he wrote poetry during the war, but most of them were going back to his life elsewhere really. But anyway, I read this little poem yesterday. I was sitting in my car down the front there, and this book has notes in the back about not all the poems, but about a lot of them, and things that he'd left in diaries and notebooks about his work. Anyway, I'll read you the poem first, and then I'll read you the notes at the back, and it's called... Let's see how many markers I've got in here. It's called A Dream. Over known fields with an old friend in dream I walked, but came sudden to a strange stream. Its dark waters were bursting out most bright from a great mountain's height into the light. They ran a short course under the sun, then back into a pit they plunged, once more as black as at their birth. And I stood thinking there, how white, had the day shone on them, they were. As at their birth. And I stood thinking there, how white, had the day shone on them, they were. Heaving and coiling, so by the roar and hiss, and by the mighty motion of the abyss, I was bemused. But I forgot my friend, and neither saw nor sought him till the end, when I awoke from waters unto men, saying, I shall be here some day again. I didn't read that very well. But then I looked at the notes and I thought that was intriguing. And I looked at the notes at the back. This is a letter Thomas wrote to Robert Frost, the American poet, talked about last time. After giving some reasons for he was writing to Frost. After giving some reasons for his enlistment on the 14th of July, Thomas wrote, a month or two ago I dreamt we were walking near Leadington. I don't know where Leadington is. But we lost one another in a strange place. And I woke saying to myself, somehow, someday I shall be here again, which is more or less the last line of that poem, which I made the last line of some verses. After June 1915, two draft versions of this poem... Oh no, I don't need to read that, blah, blah, blah. Thomas recorded many dreams in his various notebooks, all carefully worked over as if for publication, often with clear indications of their source in waking experience. When this poem was written, Thomas was gradually reaching a decision not to follow Frost and settle in New Hampshire. On his own admission, the dream firmly recalls his long visit to Frost in August 1914. After that visit, Thomas went to South Wales because both his parents were Welsh, and he did, in lots of ways, consider himself Welsh, even though he hadn't been born in Wales.
Right, yeah.
Thomas went to South Wales. Penderyn, a holograph, I'm not sure what that is, a holograph essay dated 6th of September 1914 by Thomas, includes a careful description of the underground river course and the waters at Ystrad seen during a long walk from Neath to Penderyn and the Brecon Beacons. The following sentence from the essay: there was now no valley and not a yard of level ground between these hills. The river in one place ran black underground, and in another danced down a quarter-mile of cascades, white as milk. Some time ago, between the late autumn of 1914 and his enlistment, Thomas collected and labelled all his field notebooks. The essay Penderyn is in the unusual penultimate stage, blah, blah, blah. But I used to go to Ystrad. Have you ever been there? You never went there when you were in Wales?
No, it's never that far east, actually.
Well,
Penderyn's where the distillery is.
My father used to take me there sometimes. We used to drive up there. It must have been. It was nearer Merthyr than it was Brecon, I think. I think
yes.
Ystrad is nearer Merthyr
That's
than
right.
Brecon.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we used, I remember going there with him, and I don't remember the waterfalls. There are waterfalls there. It's a series of 4 little waterfalls. They say river. I mean, wouldn't have been a big,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
lowland river. It's
Yeah,
a
something
small
coming down from the high
mountain
ground.
river.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, I don't remember the waterfalls, but I do remember the water disappearing underground into a cave, and you could go into that cave. You
Yeah.
could walk into it, and I remember walking into it. And on the wall somewhere, there's somebody's painted a white horse,
Right, okay.
and I remember walking in there, and I remember the water going into that cave, and I thought how it's the river Mechder, so Astrid Vechter is the
Yeah.
mutation.
Yeah, yeah.
And that water was like ice. I tell you why, because you can't drive up to these caves. You can park, and then I remember walking
yeah.
along a rough path to get there. But I went up the last time I was there. Must have been when I was about 18 or 19, and I went up there one very, very hot day in the summer with a couple of friends. And there was like a grassy bit where you could sit, and there were a number of people up there that day. And I wasn't, people jumping in and out the water, and that water was like ice. And I know because Jeff, who I was with, pushed me in. He pushed me. I can't remember, I was wearing shorts or something, and he pushed me in that water. Oh my God, that kind of shock could kill you.
It could, yes, yeah, if it's that cold.
It was
yeah.
that cold. It was like ice. And that's the last time I went to Astrid. It's a lovely
Was that the last
spot.
time you saw Jeff?
No, I didn't see Jeff again. Yeah, but that was, I thought, how odd that Thomas would have been
Being
been there.
that very place.
Yeah.
Yeah.